right, welcome back to the Daily Report and welcome to the marketplace. Tonight, we are touching base with the private sector. We want to know how exactly the private sector has been faring on given the political circumstance of this country. We've seen so many policy changes touching on so many employers and employees. The pay slip has been compromised, many would say. Now, let's touch on manufacturers first. Let's take a look at what KEPSA had to say.
That if we don't do this right and we don't get this right, we might start seeing relocation of industry. And we've already seen some relocation of industry into our neighborhood. And because of the East African Common Market Agreement that we have, I can produce in Kampala and sell back in Nairobi at half my price, at quarter my price.
On 25th of June, we as Parliament found ourselves alone.
Where was the Kenya Association of Manufacturers? Where was KEPSA to tell Kenyans that the goods that we are proposing to impose taxation on are finished products being imported from other economies?
Protection is good, and we will protect you through the law. But Parliament will also not protect mediocrity. And I'm sure you know that. Because Kenyan consumers are ready to pay more for better products from elsewhere than pay less for inferior products made by ourselves.
All right, very strong sentiments there. Of course, that was a session that leaders, members of parliament and the Speaker of the National Assembly had with the Kenya Private Sector, Alliance, talking about how exactly the situation is for a lot of manufacturers. In my panel tonight, I have with me Edwin Kegode, who is the General Manager of Minet Kenya. We want to touch base with the insurance sector, see how exactly that sector is faring on. We also have the acting CEO of the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, Tobias Alando. We want to know what's happening. There are so many things that have been thrown around. We've had, manufacturers want to go, into Uganda. The leaders are saying we will not protect mediocrity. Tobias, I'll start with you. Those sentiments, how did you feel about them?
So, in reality, numbers don't lie.
Okay.
The last time our GDP contribution to the manufacturing sector was at a 2-point figure, 11% to be precise, was about 2011. We're now in 2024. And if you look at the trend, the manufacturing contribution to the GDP has dropped from 11% to now 7.6. And this trend will drop if we do not take radical measures in terms of creating a conducive environment for doing business.
All right.
There's a lot of unpredictability in terms of the policy space. And as you recall, we are in competition with our East African community partners. Industries in Uganda are no longer asleep. Industries in Tanzania are no longer asleep. They are also working hard to grow. Kenya has been the dominant industrial country in the EAC market.
Right.
Where about 30% of what we export, or 40%, was going to EAC.
All right.
This has gone down, has reduced, because the industries in Tanzania, the industries in Uganda have already developed.
All right.
So it's a reality.
Okay.
Yes.
Edwin, of course, we've had, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, saying that the government is not going to support mediocrity. But we do have, SHA rolling out SHIF, and we're seeing so many loopholes and gaps, and we might even see people shifting away from private insurance because they feel like we're already paying so much for SHIF. How exactly has it been for insurers in the country?
Indeed, the rollout of SHA, as has been seen in the public space, has been having a bit of challenges. Would call them teething challenges. But from the insurance sector, what we are seeing is that we are taking center stage to advise our clients on how to blend the SHA benefits with the existing policies, the medical insurance programs that they are on. Indeed, the payslip has faced some strain, and so many employers are thinking that now it's time to move over their scheme wholly to SHA, but we are indicating to them that It's a wait and see. We are giving advisory in terms of how the benefits will be able to complement one another and how to optimize SHA as well as be able to have a robust scheme.
All right, Edwin, you're also a general manager, right? And of course, Minette, like any other company, has to think about its employees and how exactly these shifts are going to be, you know, affecting them. Just this Monday, there was a report that was indicating a lot of employers have decided to either stunt on employing people or they even, you know, lessening their workforce. How exactly have you been, you know, acting, or how have you been surviving in these changing, you know, times?
I think it's early in the day to be able to make a concrete determination on how the workforce is going to be managed by many employers. But indeed, the impact of contributing more to SHA, we anticipate that the benefits will supersede the current challenges that we have. And in the fullness of time, that these benefits will accrue to Kenyans, both those that are employed and even the general public. So, being that SHA implementation just started at the beginning of this month, I would say it's too early in the day, though the sentiments from a majority of people is that their pay slip is no longer what they considered it to be. Right. But considering that Kenyans are also very resilient, I believe we'll be able to surmount this current challenge and be able to see better days.
All right.
Yes.
Now, a lot of Kenyans may say that, you know, and I'll come back to you on that, they may say that insurance is a luxury item. And, you know, when it comes to cutting the costs, maybe that could be one of the things that they chop. We'll touch on that. But I'll come back to you, Tobias. Of course, the clip that we've just seen, you know, the members of parliament had their own sentiments, but the private sector had their own sentiments. Kimani Ichung'wah, the leader of majority, did say that, you know, where was CAM when we were importing things and, you know, plastering made in Kenya on them? Why didn't they, you know, try to tell us what was going on? How do you feel about this?
Now, I think we have been vocal enough as an association in terms of promoting local manufacturing. What lacked is that bit of understanding from either the public and also from the legislator on some of the decisions that have been previously made. The idea around protecting local manufacturing trickles down into creating employment. So that understanding needs to be made, that if we protect local manufacturing by imposing duties on finished products from outside the country, we are creating local employment and we are not taking our jobs outside the country. So if you look at even the ambitious program that we had 2 years ago when we met the president to increase our GDP contribution by the manufacturing sector from 7.6 to 20% by 2030. And we realize that if we do that, we are going to create about 1 million new jobs. We are going to bridge the revenue deficit by government by another 1 billion. So every action and every proposal that we put forward indeed is for the benefit of the country. Right. So it's just the public also to understand that some of the proposals that are put forward to protect local industries will ultimately benefit the economy. Right. Yes.
And this is a ticking time bomb because I do know that by 2027, the manufacturing sector, they have an ambitious goal of around 15% contribution to the gross domestic product. Although we have been stunting at 7.6, one may even say we dropped from 7.8 to 7.6.
Correct.
Within, you know, the Kenya Kwanza administration. How exactly is this ambitious goal going to be reached?
So we have identified about 4 pillars towards driving the GDP contribution. One of them is global competitiveness. So we have looked at our competitiveness vis-a-vis our counterparts in the region and internationally and identify what are those bottlenecks that we need to address. Right. Is it the cost of energy? Is it the taxes? Is it the predictability of the policy space? So we say that if government addresses some of this as one of the pillars in terms of global competitiveness, then we are able to grow our GDP contribution. The other thing is agriculture for industries. One of the pillars that we said linking our farmers with industries will be a great move towards driving industrialization to these countries. There's a lot of farmers that produce potatoes, tomatoes that go to waste. If we can link these value chains to off-takers who are industries and produce and create a lot of factories within counties, within different regions, we'll see a lot of traction in terms of employment. The other thing we are looking at is SME development. SME comprises about 62% of our membership. SMEs are the pillar of any economy. We want to drive the growth of industrialization through growing the SMEs. So anyone in any district or in any county should be able to start a small industries. Right. China and the other East Asia countries that developed started from developing small industries. And I think Kenya, if we go that route, we will be able to exceed. The last thing is export development or export-led growth. Right now, we realize even with the signing of different agreements that are coming, for example, AFCFTA, which opens up the African countries to trade amongst themselves. So AFCFTA already opens up about a GDP of about $3 billion, a population of about 1.2 billion or 1.2 billion people. That's a huge market that we need to tap in. Right. So currently what we are doing is we are creating awareness to the citizen in terms of those opportunity of the trade and agreement, AFCFTA, EU EPA, so that we can also export to other countries.
All right, and all of this is on the back of policies, policy changes that have been shifting so much in the past, especially in the past few weeks, and the perception of a lot of Kenyans and a lot of leaders. And when it comes to, perception, Edwin, we have said that, people have different needs, especially now that we know that there's the housing levy and there's the, shift deductions. People will have less money to, play around with, so to speak. A lot of Kenyans feel like insurance is a luxury item. How exactly are industry players such as yourself working towards changing that perception?
Yeah, indeed, insurance in general has been considered as a luxury item. However, looking at the changing times, especially with regards to health insurance, in the olden days, our insurance was the African extended family, because they would come in and salvage one of them whenever they fell ill. But in the current times, you're on your own, and therefore it means that you need to participate in a bigger pool where you then contribute by way of paying a premium to be able to access some of these healthcare services that have been growing in terms of costs day by day. So indeed, some of the things that we are doing is coming up with innovative products to be able to respond to the lower end of the income bracket. And I think as much as SHA is being shunned by most Kenyans, it's one of those steps towards bringing inclusion for people who have not been able to access health insurance. And now there will be great learnings as we have many more people mopped up into the insurance bracket, and therefore presenting an opportunity for the insurers to create products that will be riding on the SHA benefits, which means then across the country, medical service providers who deliver the services, some of whom have never been participating in insurance, will have the opportunity to participate in insurance, and therefore Kenyans will get to learn more about insurance, and maybe this perception that insurance is a luxury item may fade away, because indeed we have practiced insurance in the homes. We practice insurance in our social circles by contributing towards medical bills. We do it from the backwards in terms of that we wait for the claim to occur before now we contribute towards it. But by upfront payment of insurance premiums, it means you're preparing yourself that in the event that one of the members falls ill, then the insurance cover comes through for them. So under the prevailing circumstance where SHA has rolled out social health insurance for all Kenyans, that presents a great opportunity for development of differentiated products that will respond to the different needs in the market.
Right. It's a double-edged sword,
yes,
so to speak. But of course, SHA has had its, as you said, teething problems. And as a person who's been in the health insurance business, what do you feel like could be, the changing tides for SHA, considering that it's still, people are not accustomed to it, people are not taking it up, hospitals are not acknowledging it. What are the solutions?
I think first and foremost, what is very important is for awareness creation. SHA has a big obligation to ensure that as many Kenyans are made aware, they are sensitized about the benefits that SHA accrues to them, so that then the criticism might reduce.
Right.
And beyond just sensitizing the members is to ensure that the promise that has been made by SHA in terms of benefit offering, access to medical services, is actualized.
Right.
That means that they have to ensure that all the accredited medical providers are not turning away patients, but offering the services that has been promised, and therefore start gaining the confidence of Kenyans as the day goes by.
All right. And awareness creation is very important, Tobias, especially when it comes to industrialization. And Kenya will be hosting an industrialization expo, so to speak, in the future. And of course, the Kenya Association of Manufacturers has its own plans as well. Let's look into the bright side. Let's hope, what are some of the things we can do to reach this, 15% by 2027?
So one of the things that we need to do is appreciating what is produced locally. And that's why we have organized what we call Changamka Festival, basically showcasing what is produced locally by our local manufacturers. We need to inculcate this passion from our citizens to buy and wear, eat anything produced locally. In the first week of 5th to 9th of November, we'll be holding Changamka Festival at KICC, where industries will showcase the best of the best in terms of product, from household product, food product, to clothing, to roofing sheets, if you're interested in doing your building. Right. And come also to get to know what can be produced locally. Come and get offers. Industries will be giving out offers. So it's not all gloom and dull.
Right.
There's also good that is happening in this country in terms of what our brothers and sisters are producing in those industries.
All right.
Yes.
What I'm hearing from you, Tobias, is collaboration. And
yes,
you did mention something, Edwin, on collaboration. You said that there is a way that SHA could, bring in some of the services that they are offering, and the insurers could come in and create a package on top of that package for extra coverage. How exactly will that work?
If you've had an opportunity to look at the Social Health Insurance Act and look at the benefits and the tariffs that have been published by SHA, would say that some of the benefits may not be able to meet the full medical need in terms of cost, and therefore what it presents then is that the insurance, the private health medical insurance providers are able to then develop products, innovative products that will be able to bridge the gap between the actual cost and the tariffs that SHA has provided. On top of that is to say that SHA primarily intends to roll out its services through government hospitals, county referral hospitals, and some private hospitals. So already there is an opportunity in terms of collaboration between the private sector and the public sector to offer services to Kenyans through that instrument.
Right.
So at the end of the day, we live in this country called Kenya, and as we contribute towards SHA, there are those members of the society that may not entirely utilize the public network of hospitals, and they may require to possibly go for specialized care, which may be lacking in one facility or the other, and as a result incur slightly higher costs than the tariffs that are there. So for that reason, then health insurance becomes integral for them.
All right. What I'm getting from you, Edwin, is that there are loopholes that may be presented in SHA where the private sector could come in and plug. How exactly, as a Kenyan, are we supposed to come into terms with the fact that there is more payment from the NHIF system and there are these loopholes now? How exactly do people, bring that together?
We at Minet have that opportunity where we are consulting with our clients, sitting down with them, going through the benefit offering that they have for their staff and seeking opportunities to optimize that benefit so that it is not just duplication of what is offered under SHA, but looking for opportunities to enhance their benefits. As an example, if, for example, chronic conditions are limited to a certain amount per annum, and within the population you're bound to find a few people with non-communicable diseases, then how do we come through to ensure that during that period through the year, that in the event that their primary benefit under SHA is utilized, then the private medical insurance can come through and help them to bridge that gap. So indeed, there's the opportunity for co-insurance between SHIF and private medical insurance.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's look at the business trends a little bit, Tobias here. And of course, ICEA Lion had released a report earlier this week indicating how exactly, the markets are faring on, especially when it comes to consumer spending. It emerged, and maybe this may be news to you, that, respondents working in the manufacturing and trade sectors had the highest proportions of improved incomes. Now, the GDP might be suffering, but apparently the employability within the manufacturing sector is improving. How exactly do we put those two together?
It will take time in terms of reflecting that growth and impact towards the GDP.
Right.
Of course, there's been slight improvement, and that improvement is in certain sectors. But we do have our own internal barometer, and the barometer we did, a quarterly barometer, 64% particularly of the industries did indicate that the orders have gone down. So it could be that our buyers, who are the general consumers, the public, do not have cash. So the cash flow effects has inhibited them from putting up orders.
All right.
So it will take time to see a lot of improvement. Of course, there are steps that the government are trying to take, but the impact may not be seen immediately, but in the long time, definitely. If we're able to open the markets that we used to have, the regional market and the international market, then you'll see sort of a growth in the manufacturing sector and more jobs created because of those open markets.
Right.
Yeah.
In the world of business, when one's income is compromised, their spending power is also significantly compromised.
That's true.
Going into the latter half of the year, we will see that a lot of Kenyans don't have as much to spend on products. Now we have imported products that are coming into the country that are significantly cheaper than what is being produced within the country, and that brings a lot of competition. It's hard to be patriotic when you don't have enough in your pocket. How exactly are manufacturers working towards negating that?
So we normally say the world is flat. So when you are producing or setting up a factory in Kenya, you need to have in mind that I'm going to compete with a factory in India, a factory in China, or a factory in Asia, in Europe.
Right.
So the fact that we're in a global market, we need to compete. So some industries find other avenues in terms of productivity, improving their productivity through technology. However, if you look at our competitive in terms of just one major cost that you can say we compare, electricity cost is indeed expensive.
Right.
We are about 70% more expensive than our counterpart. But having said that, we are also more reliable. We have more reliable electricity as compared to our counterpart.
Right.
So there is an advantage and disadvantage. So as a businessman or as a producer in the factory, you look at those opportunity costs that you have and make sure that your products can be competitive in the market.
All right.
Yes.
Now, Edwin, when it comes to the financial sector, of course, banks have been compromised because non-performing loans are getting higher and higher every single day. Now, when it comes to Kenyans and their disposable incomes, this as well has been compromised, and that would make the penetration of insurance much, much, harder. How exactly are you working towards getting more within the net of insurance in the country?
Okay, interestingly is that looking at some of the statistics that are available, prior to the rollout of, for example, the SHA, Social Health Insurance Authority, the insurance penetration, health insurance penetration was in the region of about 20 to 30, which means 3 out of 10 Kenyans would have access to insurance. So I do not have the brief for government, but I would say that through this rollout, as ambitious as it is, it's going to create a higher penetration of health insurance among the populace, right, by moving that to about 80% of the Kenyans would be under an insurance cover. So that presents an opportunity in terms of broadening the knowledge base, right, that more Kenyans will now have better understanding of insurance, not only health, but looking at other aspects of insurance, and leveraging on that knowledge is then to be able to design products that would be attractive to many more Kenyans. So the pass may be limited, right, but looking at the risk factors that these Kenyans would be exposed to, then for us in the insurance sector is to continuously sensitize them about the importance of having insurance, and so they're able to spare a coin or two and come together in groups and purchase insurance at lower costs. And when they start seeing the benefits of insurance, that's how we'll be able to gain more traction and increase penetration.
Right. As we start to conclude, Tobias, there is the global perspective. Things are on fire in the country. Of course, we have investors who are looking towards this particular space, seeing all of these changes. There is an ouster going on. The political space is in a storm, so to speak. How exactly has investment been compromised, and how exactly can we turn this around?
I think any economy will only grow if there is stability, political stability, economic stability is in place in any country. And so we indeed concerned as investors in this country and potential investors in this country that we have a stable political environment. Right. I mean, without peace, then definitely, without peace and without that stability, you will not have people investing or wanting to reinvest. If you look at the scenario that we are in currently, and if you look at statistics in terms of before elections, many companies do not reinvest during that time. Right. They hold into the expansion, they hold into their reinvestment because of the political stability. So I think it's upon us to ensure that we have peace in the country and stability at the political angle. Once we have stability at the political angle, then the business will play their role.
Right.
Yes.
They will play their role. Yes. And when it comes to playing roles, Edwin, going into the future, how exactly do you see, insurance panning out, considering there will be significant changes with the Social Health Authority?
I think we are going to see a lot of embracement of technology. I think AI has been on the lips of many people. And looking at rolling out a scheme of this magnitude, and even looking at the future of insurance, AI is going to play a very significant role in terms of embedding that in claims management, embedding that in membership management, and also looking at other aspects of predictive statistics, being able to understudy the behavior of the data that is collected from these big populations and predicting what is going to happen in the future. AI is also going to play an integral role in terms of health services, that we have better data that can be churned and managed to be able to determine disease patterns and what interventions and outcomes are anticipated. So that's one angle that we see. As I said earlier, we are going to see a lot of collaboration, being able to benchmark with best practice from other jurisdictions. Social health insurance, for example, as a topical issue, is not new in the world. There are other economies that have gone ahead of us. So being able to benchmark from them and bringing that back home. So I would say that the future of insurance is great. The opportunities to be able to come up also with products that have not been seen in this territory. Financial inclusiveness, looking at the lower end of the pyramid to be able to provide solutions for them. So the future is great in that sense. And the other thing that I would say around insurance is that the demand for insurance is going to increase. The demand for insurance is going to increase because of one factor that I talked about, the social stratification that has been going through changes over the years.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I'm touching base with you, and that has been, the purpose of this particular conversation on the performance of, the private sector with changing policies. Tobias, maybe if you could just tell us, what is your concluding statement on this? How exactly is manufacturing performing? How exactly is it going to be performing given the political situation?
Okay, so it's sort of unpredictable. It's more or less dependent on what is going to happen in the political side and the economic side. But if factors remain constant in terms of political stability and economic stability, then definitely we are going to see a lot of growth in the manufacturing sector with the opportunities that we now see in terms of tapping into additional market and the willingness and the zeal for the Kenyans. Kenyans are very resilient people. Believe we can grow our manufacturing sector if we put our hands and heads together, despite all these challenges. And of course, we identify what are the challenges and we work on them together. We'll definitely create prosperity for our country through sustainable industrialization.
All right, Edwin, the financial realm?
In the financial world, I think for us is to just watch this space, be able to look out for opportunities, to develop products, to be more innovative, to work closely with the government for collaboration, and opportunities for us also to implement other enforceable rules around the medical schemes that we manage.
Amazing. That has been our conversation tonight on The Marketplace. We were touching base with the private sector. Things have been haywire, but the private sector is saying that they're going to ride out the storms and they're hoping for the best, even in very challenging political and policy times. My name is Zibak Said. Have yourselves a very lovely night. Until next time.